Hey guys, so it is Bootcamp day 9, and today is one of my favorite topics, and we are talking about enrolling new members. So enrolling new members is a foundational skill of our business. If we aren't enrolling new members, our businesses won't grow. So we need to continue to enroll new members, and then we also need to train our people how to enroll members and share this wonderful lifestyle of young living. So this can happen in a variety of ways, but the basis of all enrollments starts with one thing: conversation. So we have to learn how to talk to people. We have to learn how to get comfortable talking to strangers, talking to others, and we have to be able to answer the question, what do you do, without being like, because I find that's really hard sometimes for us to explain what it is that we do, because it's a multifaceted world that we do in Young Living. So this is known as our elevator speech, and that's our first topic for tonight. So we are going to need two versions of our elevator speech. We're going to need a 30-second version and a 2-minute version. So I'm going to explain to you the difference and why you need both versions. So when you meet somebody brand new, okay, let's just pretend we're standing in the line at the grocery store, and it's a super long line because you're going to be standing there for a while, and the person in front of you and you start chit-chatting because you're purchasing something similar. And do you live around here? What do you do? They return the question with, well, what do you do? People are like, in Young Living when they first get started. So I wanted to share with you this is when we would use our 30-second speech. So I make it really simple, 1 or 2 sentences, and I just say, I help others with health and wellness through teaching them about using no toxins in their home, natural ways, and just really help people be the best they can be. So it leaves mystery, and if they're interested in natural health and wellness, then they're going to ask more questions and be like, oh, well, tell me a little bit more. Or, so how exactly do you do that? Well, I teach classes, or I educate one-on-one, and we're in a Facebook group. I'm also an author, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, wherever that conversation turns. But if you just kind of leave it vague, but leave a little bit of mystery to it where people know you're in health and wellness, that has been the biggest thing for me when I'm bringing up conversation with strangers. It creates that mystery, it creates that conversation. And I've actually enrolled people when I'm shopping on Black Friday, people I meet at Kohl's, Costco, all different kinds of places, just from those vague conversations leading into deeper things. I even once had somebody say, oh, let me guess, you probably use Young Living. I was like, yep, I sure do. And when it changes your life, you may not have that attitude about it. And because they weren't super nice about it. And she was like, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, let me share my story with you. So I shared my story with her. Within 2 days, she was a member on Essential Rewards and had purchased a while ago. So sometimes people just have the wrong impression of what we do because they don't understand enough about it. So your 2-minute speech is what you will need when these people start asking more questions about your 30-second speech. So depending on what you're talking to them about, if you're talking to them about the products or the business opportunity, you would kind of need a 2-minute speech for both. So I want you guys to craft a 30-second and a 2-minute speech of what would you say if a stranger said to you, what do you do? And if they say, well, talk to me a little bit more about that. I don't really understand what it is that you do. How would you answer those questions? So those of you who were watching last night and have done your homework and have found a cross-line friend, this would be a great opportunity for the two of you to practice your 30-second and 2-minute speeches with each other. And you guys can give each other pointers and feedback. You need to have confidence behind what you're saying. You need to believe in what you're saying. And so make sure that you do practice it. So I've actually recorded myself with my phone and played it back and figured out where I needed to change different talking points, or if I'm like, oh, I don't like the way that sounds at all, or that's not what I meant. When you can hear yourself say it back, a lot of times you will get great feedback for yourself. You can also say it to yourself in your mirror, your spouse. Actually, me and Mia were actually kind of role playing right before the video. She was trying to pump me up because she gets excited for my 8 o'clock videos, she calls them. So those are just some tips to help you practice and get more comfortable, because you don't want to be caught in an elevator and literally have 30 seconds to get to the next floor, and that be your next time and getting ready to walk out that elevator because you couldn't come up with your 30-second elevator speech. So all of these speeches that we're talking about are interacting with people one-on-one. And so I want to dive into that topic in detail tonight because honestly, I feel one-on-ones are probably overlooked a lot in our businesses. We maybe miss a lot of opportunities, and we think about getting people to classes more than we do one-on-ones. Recently, there was a poll done in a group of over, I think it was 12 or 13,000 people, and it said, how did you enroll? Did you enroll because of a one-on-one, because you went to a class, different things? And the top answer that most people chose of why they enrolled was because somebody shared with them one-on-one. So if that's how the majority of people are enrolling, are you focusing some of your IPA time on meeting people one-on-one? So I want to challenge you this week to schedule some one-on-ones with people who are on your Frank list. We talked about our Frank list yesterday. I find that some people think, well, how do I get people to a one-on-one, or where do I meet people one-on-one? So my biggest tip for that is to meet people where they are. So you totally can have a one-on-one during your kids' athletic practice. I've had one-on-ones in the grocery store. You can do it at a park, obviously not in the winter, but when spring rolls around and you're having play dates, things like that. I love meeting people for coffee. I don't drink coffee, but a lot of people love coffee. So I will offer to buy a cup of coffee and say, hey, I would love to treat you to a cup of coffee if you want to come and sit and chat with me about oils and natural health and wellness. And a lot of people say yes, and they get a lot of enrollments that way. You could be meeting somebody at the library. You can have lunch with someone. You can come to their house and visit. So there's lots of different places to do that. So one of the things that you will need to do if this person that you meet in your elevator speeches and things like that is a stranger. So I'm going to talk about strangers or cold market versus warm market, the people that we know. So with your cold market people that you don't really know, we want to use a process called FORM, and that's something that Danny Johnson teaches. And so you're going to find out about their family, which is the F in FORM, their occupation, which is the O, recreation, what they like to do for fun, and then you'll leave with a message. So we actually like to talk about ourselves. People like to talk about themselves if you ask them questions. One of the biggest tools you have in your toolbox are these puppies right here, your ears, for you to listen. You got to listen for others' needs. So as you're meeting people and you're forming them, you're finding out about their family, occupation, recreation, you're going to know more about them to be able to refer them to Young Living. And I don't always refer people to Young Living immediately. We could talk for 3 to 6 months before it comes up in conversation, depending on how that conversation goes. This is a relationship business. Not everybody I meet is going to be in Young Living right now. They will at some point, because we're going to have oils in every home, right? But that is a skill to work on. So a lot of times in the beginning, when I first learned about FORM, Craig and I would role play, and we would pretend we were strangers and have to try to figure out the different things about each other. You can even get a group of your builders together. You can make little cards that your name is Sally, you have 2 kids, and you're a dentist, and they play that role. So there's a way to do that where you can get some good practice in to where you're really confident and comfortable in doing it in public. So there are verbiage samples and seasons of hustle, so I'm not going to dive into those here on this video for one-on-ones. Some things that aren't in the book about one-on-ones is don't be afraid to be raw with people. And if this is somebody that you've talked to about oils for a while and you're following up with them again, don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't want to bug you. You have expressed interest in the past, and I just want to make sure that you want me to continue telling you about these classes or continue telling them about whatever it is that you're talking about. It's totally not going to hurt my feelings. Just know I want to know the truth, because I don't want you to dread seeing me. I'm your friend first, whatever, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people will be like, oh my gosh, no, seriously, I do want to know. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm just going to go ahead and get my kit. I don't know why I've been waiting so long. So just let people know, you don't want you talking to them about oils to cover up the relationship that you have with them. Because I know all of us have some cricket messages where you're messaging people and all of a sudden they stop responding back. So I've just been really honest and real with those people and just been like, hey, let me know, tell me, like, I don't want to be that person that you dread seeing. And then it's not salesy, it's not slimy, you're just being honest with them. So don't be afraid to be real and raw with these people in one-on-ones, especially if they're like, told you 3 or 4 times, hey, I'm going to get my kit next week, or I'm going to get my kit when I get my tax return, I'm going to get my kit when. Just be like, hey, told me several times, what is the real issue here? Let's see if I can help you with that, because usually there's a bigger underlying issue. We're also going to talk about overcoming objections tomorrow, so we'll dive in deeper to some of that tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you a few bullet points for some of those people you may be reaching out to this week on that frank list, and that is part of your homework tonight. Okay, so we're going to move on to in-person classes. Now, I have taught over 500 classes in my journey so far building my Young Living business. So it is something that I do feel I do successfully, and based on my experience, I want to share with you what I feel makes a class be successful. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have no-show classes. I still have classes where some people don't sign up. There's never going to be anybody in this business that is going to have a huge enrollment rate at every class, okay? So don't get down on yourself if that happens. It happens to all of us. But I've broken this down into some of the main things that I feel that you should have to teach a class. These are things that anybody at any rank, any experience in Young Living can do. And they're super simple. So you just gotta remember to keep it simple. So number 1 is be a storyteller, okay? Facts tell and stories sell. Okay, you need to remember that. Facts tell, stories sell. The personality colors, the greens, are the only one that want the facts. So most of your audiences that you talk to are not going to be full of greens. So a lot of times you will have a host for a class. So if you have a host in the class, it's not a class you're hosting yourself, be sure you edify the host and you're telling great things about them and thanking them for having you and how you met and how you're grateful for them. Edify them. It helps their people that are there that know them see their purpose and the relationship that you guys have, where it's not just some stranger coming in trying to sell them a product. Okay. And so you also need to share your story. Now that doesn't mean that your story has to be this big life-altering dramatic story. So I like to share my story, or any of my team, tell them to share their story. Before I started Young Living, this is what my life looked like. And tell the things that you were struggling with. But since Young Living, this is what my life looks like now. And so you're able to tell the difference of those struggles that you had, how they're not struggles now. Were you not very happy? Now your emotions are really supported with oils. Has thieves totally rocked your world because it's great at supporting the immune system? Those different things like that. You have things that you can tell, and just sharing that quick 3 to 5 minute, my life before Young Living, my life since Young Living, and I can't imagine life without it. The second tip I have for you is to share why you love Young Living. So for me, that's seed to seal. With my daughter's long list of medical issues and allergies, that was something that meant a ton to me. So I tell that as part of my story and why it's important to me that I only get my products from Young Living. Now at this point, I've usually gauged the audience a little bit, and if they're an audience that's going to be interactive and I can tell they kind of like to have a little bit of fun, I'll even poke fun at them. I'll be like, okay, y'all, I'm going to need everybody in here to promise me something. You are not going to go out when you leave this class, because you're going to hear all these amazing things, and you're not going to go to the grocery store on your way home and buy some oils. Can I get some promises up in here? And it gets funny and people agree to it, and I say, no, I'm truly serious. This is why you buy your oils from Young Living. And so I make that, they remember that, and they don't go to the store and buy oils. So the third thing is you have to share about the PSK. You're not going to sell PSKs if you don't talk about PSKs. PSKs are your premium starter kits. So don't make it complicated. Okay, when you share about the PSK, you don't have to talk about every product that's in it if you're not comfortable doing that yet. Or if the audience is 15, 20 people and you can't get through the whole thing without taking an hour or two, it's totally okay to talk about a few products. Pass a few products around. Let them experience at least peppermint and lemon and maybe one other oil. I never pass around digest first. Peppermint's usually the one that I love to pass around first. I let people actually put it on and smell it so they experience that, because remember that experience with Young Living. So I want you to think about too, when you are sharing with people in classes, we get so excited because we know all the things and we know each oil does over 150 plus things, and I want to tell you 10 things about lemon and 10 things about peppermint and 10 things about raven and 10 things about citrus fresh and all the things about frankincense. People are mind blown and excited, but then they're confused and they're overwhelmed and it seems hard. So keep it simple. Okay, the next thing is you have to speak with confidence. We're going to talk about this in a little bit because there's a couple points I want to make that will kind of coincide with speaking with confidence. But it can't just be like, I think we have this process called seed to something. Like, you have to be confident in what you're sharing. Now, it's okay to say, I'm not for sure about that. Let me try to find the answer out for you if it's a question that somebody asks. But the information that you are presenting, be confident within that and be confident in yourself. So if you have to put on all the valor before you go, that's totally okay. So the fifth and final thing that I feel you have to make a successful class is you have to have a strong close. I've seen people teach amazing classes, but then they don't close. So sales comes from your closing. Okay, so before you go teach this class, you go into that room with every person in that room already wants a PSK and they're going to go home with PSK. Go in with that confidence, go in with that mindset, go in speaking life into the kit sales that are going to happen from that day. Each person in the room, typically I have at the end of a class, I will say, okay, I would love to know just one thing from each of you that you learned today or liked, that something you heard that you liked today. Can you share just one thing with me? And I will go around to each person. So what happens in this time frame of the class is they are all sitting there selling each other because they're all talking about all the things they heard that they were amazed by. Okay, so it's not me. They're recapping the information and telling what they learned. So that is a really powerful piece. And so when they all get done and they all had great things to say, then you can have a strong close by saying, well, girls, that sounds like every one of you is going home with the kit tonight because all of those reasons I just heard, every one of you in this room need it. So let me show you how to place your order. That's a strong close. Now you can close in many ways. That's just one example of the ways that I do it. And it's been a pretty powerful way to do it. So let's talk about the class itself in a little bit more detail. So I never take anything with me except for the PSK, which is the starter kit with 11 oils, the diffuser, the product guide, and I have these magic little clipboards that I made. So I'm going to go over the clipboards for you guys. And this here was a game changer for my business. So this notes sheet is called the class handouts form that is on Seasons of Hustle. The link is up in the top of this video in the description. I do want you guys to print this out because I want you guys to use this at your one-on-ones. I use these for any time I talk to anybody about Young Living. So I'm going to explain to you my thought process behind this and exactly how I use it. So this is a blank sheet of paper. Usually on the clipboard, I will have a second sheet of paper stuck under here. And that will either be a contact form to get their contact information, or sometimes we'll do paper enrollment forms. It just really depends on your process of what you like to do. So I didn't put the second page on here because I want you guys to decide what's best for you. So on this page here, this is always on the front. I don't put anything else on the front, and I make sure I have a pack of pens that I keep with me. Everything fits in my Young Living backpack from convention. So that's all I'm carrying in is that backpack. So it looks simple. It looks like anybody can do it because I'm not packing in everything but the kitchen sink, which I have done at classes before. Those did not go so well. The ones that I keep simple, they go over much better. So on this form here, you're going to see it has 4 sections. This section says notes. This section says needs. This says questions, and this says friends and family. So I tell people the first section is for your notes. Feel free to use the back of the page as well. This is a page that you can keep. I do not serve snacks and drinks. Sometimes we'll do water, or I'll give samples of, let people taste things during the class. But I find when they have this in their lap with a pen, they actually take notes and they're really more invested in what you are saying. So in the notes section, I tell them, I said, write down anything that you want to be sure and remember, because usually we will say several things during the classroom. Oh my gosh, I need to remember that, or I need to try that. Be sure and write those things down. If you need me to repeat it, or if you need me to slow down during class, so you guys can take notes, that's totally fine. The needs section is where I want you to write. If you hear me talk about peppermint and you're like, girl, I need some peppermint, I want you to write the word peppermint. And then we get around to lemon, you're like, oh, I need that too. I want you to write down lemon. So as we talk about the oils, write down the names of the things that you actually think that you would use that we talk about today. In the questions section, if you have a question that you don't want to ask in front of the entire class, go ahead and write that down, and at checkout, I'll be sure and try to get to those questions for you. If I don't know the answer, I'll get back to you. The next section is friends and family. So I know as I'm talking about things today, I've had so many people say to me, oh, my friend Sarah needs to know about peppermint. So I want you to write down peppermint-Sarah. So you'll know who you need to share what with, because I know that you are going to hear things today that is going to empower you to think this could help somebody that's in my friends or family circle. So what happens with this at checkout is when they look at their needs section, I have the prices typed up for if they were to buy them as a retail customer. And so I'm able to show them the value of the 3 to 5 to 7 to 11 oils that they've written down. You know, you could get these 3 for $104.76, or you can get the whole kit for $160, which is 7 more oils, a diffuser, Ningxia Red samples. So you're able to quickly do that without having to do a ton of work and show the value to them. Because some people just are really in the mindset of, do I really need all the things just to start? Do I just want to try one? So I've gotten a lot of people who just want 1 or 2 oils once they see the difference in the value, because I already have that typed up with the retail value, that it's actually made them upgrade to a kit sale. Now, the questions section is something that sometimes there's a few questions, sometimes there isn't, but it lets people know, like, you respect their privacy, you respect anything that they would want to ask that maybe they don't want to ask in a group of people. So it shows people that you really care about them and care about the relationship with them. Now, the friends and family section is one of my favorites, and this is why this is on here. So at checkout, you're going to be sure that you're getting them enrolled with their PSK, and you're going to set a follow-up date with them at the time you sell their premium starter kit. So you're going to say, I'm going to follow up with you in 10 to 14 days. What day is good for you? And make that time appointment. Do you want a phone call? Do you want me to come meet you for coffee? Do you want me to come to your house? You can invite a few friends over. Oh my gosh, I see you have like 4 people on your list already. If you want to bring those over while I go through your kit with you when you get it in stock, I'm happy to do that. Would you want to invite them to that? Or would you like to have a class? And you could even have little incentives of, if you go ahead and book a class today, I have this little basket of things that you choose from at your class. So you are always filling your calendar from the people that are at your current classes, which is going to create momentum, which is going to keep your calendar full, which is going to help those people who are just enrolling share quickly. The quicker we get those people who just enrolled to share, the more likely they are to be on ER and stay continually sharing with people. So this was a powerful, powerful tool for my business. So this is a free resource on the website for you guys. I encourage you to use them. I would love feedback as you're using them. That's just been one thing that I cannot say enough. I get the clipboards from the Dollar Tree. I always keep 12 or 15 of them completely done. When I come home and clean up from a class, I just refill them so they're ready to go the next time. You can keep them in the trunk of your car if you need to. One of the things I also have at my classes usually is a flip kit. So how many of you actually know what a flip kit is? So flip kit is basically just keeping a kit on hand in inventory. So when they get their kit, they would mail the kit from Young Living back to you. and they would get to take that kit home right then. So if you have 5 people in a class and you're like, I have 2 kits with me, so the first 2 people that say yes actually get to take theirs home today. I've actually had people fight for the ones that you take home. So some people want that initial investment to have their initial product right then, and some people are impulse buyers where they will buy it just because it is right there. So I really encourage you, if you're going to build this business, to order at least 3 flip kits at one time so you can get the 300 PV promo, and keep track of your flip kits, because a lot of times they're coming in and out so fast. You're like, I don't know where that one was and where that one's supposed to be coming in from, just so you can keep track of it. So that's an organizational skill that you can put in your calendar or however it is that you like to track things. You also want to talk about the value of the PSK and the price. Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes I hear people say in classes is, well, the people say, well, how much is it? It's $160. And they get that look on their face like, we're afraid that you think it's expensive. It is not expensive. It is the best investment you're gonna make, okay? People have asked me before when I'm using an oil in public, what is that? Girl, that's the best decision I ever made. You want me to tell you about it? Okay, so you have to believe it was a good investment, because it totally is. It's over 50% off. So you need to be saying, when you're closing your classes, or even at the beginning of your classes, we're going to talk about the Scream Starter Kit. It is only $160. Can you believe how good of a deal that is? If you plant that seed in people's heads, because it is an amazing deal, they're not going to think about the price being too expensive. I think we have that fear with people, because that sometimes is an excuse for people. We're going to talk about excuses and overcoming objections tomorrow too, but I want you guys to be confident in the price and knowing that's a good deal. We don't need to be offering $10 back, $15 back, $25 gift cards. We don't have to offer that stuff. It's already an amazing value, okay? So you want your classes to be duplicatable. You want to be able to teach it if you need to, straight from your product guide. So I wanted to show you guys this trick with product guide. So I went to Staples and I had mine ring bound, because I like to be able to talk from this. So the sourcing, science, and standards, I don't have that as memorized as I did the 5 pillars of seed to seal. So I like to be able to have this as a reference, and I like to be able to hold it in one hand, because as y'all haven't seen in the last 9 days, I'm a hand talker, okay? I can't talk. People have me sit on my hands. I just can't do it. So this allows me to have that one hand free, and it's less awkward. You can tell them about the farms. You can show them pictures about the farms. I can say, I've been to this farm, and this farm. This is what it's like. This is amazing. So you're able to share those things. I have even encouraged my team to order the 10-pack of product guides and have those sitting around at your classes, because when you go to other multi-level marketing sales parties, you always get to flip through a catalog. And so I think we don't do that often enough, so people don't see that we have supplements, that we have personal care products, that we have makeup, that we have baby stuff, we have foods, we have pots and pans, we have all the things. So people need to be buying all the things and see all the possibilities. I did not know personally that Young Living had more than oils until like 7 months later, okay? So use your product guide, and then guess what? Your friend that is sitting at that class, Sally, saw you teach from product guide. She gets her PSK in, there's a product guide in there, and then her best friend, Lila's at her house, and she pulls it out and she shares from her product catalog just like you did in the class, because she saw you do it. It is duplicatable. Search for Sarah Johnson's KISS video on YouTube. It's how to share Young Living basically from the product guide, and it's keep it simple. And it is amazing. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is get out some of those people on your Frank list, and let's get some classes, getting ahead of myself, get some classes booked, get some one-on-one scheduled, and I'm going to try to talk about online classes really quickly. We're close to our time limit for tonight, and I want to go 2 over, but this is just a topic I'm super passionate about, so I'm just going to give you a few quick tips on online classes, and then we'll hop back on the subject tomorrow. So online classes are a great way to educate members that are already current members if you're giving new content. So you always want to be talking about the PSK or things that involve the PSK, because you want to get new members as well, but you have to have your current members involved because you want to create momentum. You have to get people commenting and have the class active. the best way to have an online class is to actually have a mixture of Facebook Lives as well as posts. So people want that interaction. They want to see your face. They want to hear your voice. They want to see your personality. They want to see you have fun. And so, like, would you had read all this if I had typed it out? No, probably not. Let's be honest. But me sitting here having the conversation with you and you hearing the passion of my voice and you hearing the confidence, it gives you the confidence to maybe try it. Okay, so it's going to be the same way with them. So make a plan, reach out to people. Please do not go and click invite down that invite button, okay? So pick a fun name, personally invite people. If you do not want to create your own content, there are great things, resources out there like Grow Workspace that comes with the graphics and the content. I would tell you, if you do that, still tell your story and tweak the content where it sounds like you. Don't just copy and paste it, because people are going to know if it doesn't sound like it's coming from you. The biggest key to success with online classes is follow-up. So the people that are commenting in those classes, message them and say, thank you so much for attending. I would love to know your thoughts, or I seen you posted this question. I hope that got answered for you. I would love to, talk to you more about that. So you have to follow up to make online classes successful. I will tell you, they are much more abundant now than several years ago. So they really work for some people in one season, but not another. So you can go back and forth with having online classes and have them in seasons. Sometimes what works in the season may not work in the next. So don't get bummed if you do have one and it doesn't have a ton of momentum. Try it again, but maybe wait a few months into a different season, or try inviting differently. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to dive into filling the seats, because how many of you want to know how to get butts in the seats at your classes? And we're going to talk about overcoming objections, because we all have those excuses, right? And then we're going to talk about the rule of 3. So I hope tonight has been helpful. This is one of my favorite topics. I could talk about it all night long, but I promise you guys we're going to keep these to 20 or 30 minutes each. So I thank you guys for staying with me for tonight, and I will see you tomorrow.